Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So today I will share the Dhamma with this topic, the wisdom of breaking down compactness, the delusion overcome and the benefits derived. What is this idea of compactness, what we call Ghana? What is this compactness? In fact, without seeing ultimate realities, all the time we always get caught in the idea of compactness. I remember the first day I met my preceptor, Paul Saraji, in early December 1995. One of the questions I asked him is how to practice asammoha sampajanya. You know there are 4 sampajanya. It's given in the commentary of the Mahasatipatthana Sutta about clear comprehension. This translation was given by the Venerable Nyanaponika Thera. Clear comprehension, 4 clear comprehension. You know, right? First is the clear comprehension of purpose, Sattaka Sampajanya. Second, Sappaya Jam Sampajanya, the clear comprehension of suitability. The third, Gochara Sampajanya, clear comprehension of domain, which all meditators usually need to know. And then the last one, Asammoha Sampajanya, clear comprehension of non-delusion. So I asked Yaraji, how to practice this? How can I practice this? Then he answered, he said, no, we cannot do it. If you want to do it, the real Asammoha Sampajanya, you must practice at least up to Nama-rupa Parajeda, the first Vipassana insight. Yeah, I just took his words for that. Because at that time I thought I practiced very high already. I thought my practice was very high. I already reached very high insight knowledge already. In fact, my previous teacher already allowed me to teach. But when I met Siaroji, he just said, no, if you want to practice, you need to reach talking to me about the first insight. First, Vipassana insight. Then he said, you need to see the ultimate realities. So what is ultimate realities? All the time I thought I knew it until when Siaroji told me, I said, okay, first time meeting a teacher, just out of respect, okay, yeah, I said, I'll go and think or consider about it. Then later, I start to understand what he meant. Because without seeing ultimate realities, we still live in some kind of idea of compactness. And this compactness is the whole thing that causes all of us how we hold on to the world, all the suffering. In fact, even today, we look at the problems of the world, all due to these things. Compactness. Because of compactness, we hold on. Because of that, we are deluded. We cannot get the non-delusion. So today, I want to share with you what types of compactness are meant when we talk about practicing to see the true nature of the realities, life realities, especially our 5 aggregates, internal 5 aggregates, external 5 aggregates. So this has a lot to do. When we talk about Asammoha Sampajanya, this is one of the key elements we need to break through. What compactness are there? There are 2 big categories. Compactness of materiality, our body materiality. Then the second type, compactness of our mind, or immateriality sometimes translated, or just the mentality. 2 types of compactness. Let's look at the first one. There are 3 types of rupa, compactness of this materiality. Later you understand, I slowly explain. First, Santati, Ghana, is a continuity compactness, and sometimes translate as compactness of continuity. Same, no? I consider same. Then the second type is Sambuha Gana, grouping compactness, grouping. And that is Kicha Gana, function compactness for material of a body. It is so important. Let's look at it. Compactness of materiality. 28 types of materiality. According to Abhidhamma, these are given as ultimate realities. When we say what is Paramattha Dhamma, we need to see this up to this point. It is said, what's the difference between these and, you see, when we talk about impermanence inside practice, you need to see the arising and passing away of phenomena. So, yeah, we also see the flower blossoming and then fading away. Isn't it impermanent? Isn't it enough? If a child is born and then get old and die, isn't that impermanent? Right? It's also impermanent. But is it sufficient for us to overcome our delusion, our ignorance, our wrong view? Is it sufficient? Then what's the crossing point, the threshold, when from what is insufficient to what is sufficient? Enough to have a sufficient impact on our mind so that we give up wrong view, give up our grasping. What is this? What is the thing that from one, it's also impermanent that we see. Why is it necessary for us to meditate, to see so much impermanence? Where's the borderline? It is this Paramattha Dhamma, ultimate realities. Later you will know. If you see, later if you understand why about the wisdom of breaking down compactness, then you will know that why in our Buddhist practice and meditation practice, insight practice, we care about seeing impermanence up to the ultimate realities level. There must be a crossing point somewhere. Is it not? Otherwise, we also see impermanence, but mind not purified. We also see impermanence, but we grasp. To what extent do we need to see impermanence? It is this breaking down compactness. Only after we break down compactness, we see to the ultimate level of the nature of phenomena. Then it naturally produces the impact on our mind. We go further into this. So we'll look at these 28 types of materiality. Today I won't go so deep into it, just glance through. 4 types of unit and derived concrete, or you can use it just universal element. Earth, water, fire, wind. Well, people also say, well, I touch, I know, this is the earth, then the warmth is the fire, and the kind of supporting energy. Then there's a wind element or the fluid. Then the fluid is the water, or the cohesion is the water element. But not only that. These have to go down to the subatomic particles level. Look at this one. The eye translucency, Chakupasada, or sometimes translated as an eye transparent element, ear transparent element, Sota Basada, nose. This is the materiality inside the subatomic particle we call kalapa, in the nose or in the eyes. That, like for the eye, we perceive it is reactive to light, to color. And the ears one, ear transparent element, this is reactive, or can be impacted by sound. In the nose, by the smell and the taste and the tangible feeling. And then you have the color, not just a superficial. This is up to the subatomic particle level. This object, one is the inside, a silver object, color, order, flavor, you can find. Then nutritive essence, life faculty, even in the subatomic particle level, there is this element which gives sustain. It's just like electric or something, sustain the energy. And then the heart materiality, which serves as a our mind base. But every kalpa has this. When in that kalpas regarding the mind base. And then this sex materiality, when it's all over our body, we can recognize this female eye, this man's eye, and you can see male sex materiality and female sex materiality. There's space. Without space, you cannot see anything at all. Just like without space, how do you see the cup? You cannot see the cup without space. You cannot see that subatomic particle without space. And space is a delimiting kind of quality. Because of this, you can see the things you want to see because of the space. So we call it space element. Then body intimation, when you act, this is not a substantial, it comes with other things. So this is not a very vipassana object, but it is part of the materiality, body intimation, we act, speaking. And then lightness, softness, willingness, this is a quality inside the materiality. Then generation, when you were just first born, and then beginning every materiality rising, static and perishing period. Okay, put aside these technicalities. Today we are not going to this scholarly aspect of Abhidhamma. It's not the purpose of this talk. Today I want to talk something experiential. So this is, when you see this, you actually break down, when you see up to this level, all the ultimate level, even when you see the subatomic particle, it's still a compactness. It's still a kind of compactness. Yeah, you can say you see very fine. I see a lot of particles arising and passing away. Still, we are caught by compactness. I want to tell you why it is so important to break down compactness. So that there's no fancy, no dreams, no hope about something to grasp. So this second, it comes first. I talk about the second one, grouping compactness. When you see this, you see that in fact, all these particles, they arise extremely fast. These elements, they arise and pass away. And then if you can see that to that subatomic level, even to the elements level, then you break down santati, ghana, continuity, compactness. Then, and of course, later I talk about kicca, ghana. Just so you say these two things first. How often we feel sad because we grasp someone? You see, now you have a counseling down here. I don't know. Anyone do counseling here? Anyone of you do the counseling for this? So you're doing the counseling, right? I don't know how you do your counseling when you hear about people having emotional problem, or how do you guide them? Okay, you try to find the cause, right? Why you suffer like that? Then how to change your perspective, how you look at it different way, so that when you change your perspective and change your way that you understand your experience, so that given the same experience, that person will come up with a different mental response, an emotional response, which is wholesome and healthy, instead of being oppressed, depressed, right? That's the principle, right? So, do you notice that when you give counseling to different people, you need to keep tackling their different approach, right? By different approaches, this way, that way, how this person's nature, this person's character, right? Yeah, we do a lot of counseling. Monks also do a lot of counseling. I do a lot of counseling in Samanyi, You just count all sorts of people coming to me. Doing about counseling. In fact, yesterday down here, I just gave a counseling. Yeah. So it happened. So we look at it from a very worldly perspective. How you look at it. You get a divorce, how you look at it. We have a yogi from foreign country. The moment she came in, she couldn't meditate well. She just said, so painful. I just experienced a terrible divorce. So she has a difficulty. But you will notice that you need to tackle every problem this way, and thousands ways to solve a thousand problems. But the Buddha was very wise. All thousands of problems, it has its root in the fundamental things, because we don't see realities. Really so important, If you don't see your realities, then you end up having You see this problem, you solve it. Then you see another problem, you solve it. But the Buddha solved one fundamental problem. Because all this problem has its root in our delusion. Or illusion also. Delusion and illusion. You see things wrongly. You see not the real truth. Superficial to grasp. This is my lover. This is my beloved ones. Because of this grasping, all kinds of suffering happen. So the Buddha brought us down to the ultimate realities. Then you see impermanent suffering, not on a superficial level anymore. There are two things works on our mind when you have that experience. One, in order to see up to this level, you need to empower your mind first. So there are two tools of mind, I call it mind tools. Mind tools. One is a tool to empower your mind. Because if you don't empower your mind, you cannot see. Just like even if you spend 1,000 years looking at this cup, can you see the emptiness of this cup? This color? Can you see? You still see the cup color. 1,000 years you can see it. Just like the same. You want to see, I tell you there are germs, microbes here, but 1,000 years you cannot see. But you put it under a microscope, then you see. Right? You can say, oh, this is so microbes down there. In fact, you want to see the emptiness, no matter how hard you spend your time, you cannot. But if you strengthen your mind, up to the level you can penetrate, then actually this is not as you see. It is empty, arising and passing. No permanent entity in this matter. Hence, if you fall and crack, you cry away. No, this is the nature of empty nature. So this fundamental ultimate nature, when you, in order to see that, you need to strengthen your mind very strongly. Up to a point our mind develop light of wisdom. You can have a very strong power of mind and you can see this. When you can see the wonderful contact happen, very strong mind, very pure mind, without 5 hindrances, coming into contact with ultimate realities, then it has a natural impact. What is that impact? Sometimes I like to use the word, a strong word so that people can remember. Despair. It is the wrong hope that gives us a lot of grasping. Actually, when we grasp something which is actually impossible, we are bound to be disappointed. We think this is something real and we hold on it when it is eventually, the nature doesn't listen to us. Not through our wishful thinking we can change it. The nature is the nature. The Buddha only discovered it. You cannot deny this. So if you try to ignore, still the nature is like that. So when the Buddha brought us to see, to come into contact, by training our mind, very strong mind, and then see the ultimate nature, then you have it, come to it. When the strong mind experiencing the ultimate realities, then the foundations of impurities is destroyed. Because for our anger to arise, for our greed to arise, there's always a foundation. What is the foundation? Our sense of wrong view. Thinking that something substantial. Our craving, holding into it. Then our sense of, our kind of pride. So this happened. That is for the traditional way of describing the three things. Actually, you can just say this sense of I. Okay? It's I am, myself, these things. My. So this sense of I. Because of this sense of I, we want to defend ourselves. We want to protect ourselves. We want to enrich ourselves. And because of that, all sorts of defilements, greed, anger, delusion, jealousy, stinginess, all arise. But the Buddha brought us to shake the foundation of the causes of suffering. And go into that. Then you can help the person. So that's why every time when we see, sometimes I do a lot of counseling, without fail, everyone will come in front of me who seek for counseling and guidance. They always have one common things in them. They hold on to a strong sense of self. They feel how people look at them. How they would be judged. Because of that only. So if we say skills of counseling, I do. Sometimes people find effective. But it all boils down to one thing. I try to, when I notice this person, a strong sense of self in this way, or another way, but it all boils down to the same thing. So just work on it and let the person release this kind of holding on to the illusion of self. Then the person will calm and feel good about it. And then if the purpose of counseling is achieved. But that is still not good enough, because this counseling is cinta maya panya. We are trying to use our knowledge, our guidance, to help the person to apply the mind in one way or another. That's counseling. But in the Dhamma practice, when we teach Dhamma as science, not as a philosophy, not as a moral ethics or conduct, we teach Dhamma as science, then our job is to help them to see. So if they can see, it becomes bhavana maya panya. You know the three types of wisdom, right? Have you heard of it? Sutta maya panya, when you listen, then it's knowledge. Then when you reflect, ponder about it, contemplate, and then see how to apply, whether it's logical, whether it makes sense, then it's cinta maya panya. Thinking, reflective knowledge, logical thinking. But if you read Kalama Sutta, even logical thinking, there are 4 types of mental workings. The Buddha says, it is still not conclusive for you to make a decision. To say, yeah, it is this. Until you come to Bhavana Maya Panya. Attanava Jnanayata in the Kalama Sutta. When you know for yourself, Attanava Jnanayata. When we know for ourselves that these are the true nature, then it is Bhavana Maya Panya. In fact, in the first sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha already declared his secret truth. They say secret truth, but no secret actually. Already revealed to us, Yatha Bhutam Jnana Dasanam. In that sutta, the Buddha in fact said, there are four noble truths and 3 aspects of it. So 4 times 3, 12. So all these 12 aspects, this is suffering. This suffering should be overcome. Then it had been overcome. You want to eliminate. Then the cause of suffering is to eliminate it, purify it. Then to be realized, and then to be practiced. And already have been practiced, should practice and have been practiced. So three ways. The way it is, how it should be regarded, and it had been, the Buddha did it. So the Buddha said, Yatha Bhutam Jnana Dasanam. Seeing these things as they really are with wisdom. Yatha Bhutam as they really are. Just like as realistically. Yatha Bhutam. Jnana is the ability, wisdom. The ability to penetrate ultimate realities, nature. Then Dasanam, seeing. So 3 aspects involved. The attitude, don't add to it, don't subtract from it. Don't try to imagine, fancy about it. Just take it as it is. Jnana is the ability. So all our training, Samatha Vipassana or whatever training, is to cultivate this ability to have jnana and then to apply it. So similarly, in this, the Buddha suggested this was meant for Bhavana Maya Panya. Nowadays we hear many people say, I cultivate Panya first, I practice wisdom first. After I practice concentration, after that I practice morality. I can do it this way. Then that wisdom is common wisdom, like Sutta Maya Panya, hearing wisdom, thinking wisdom. But no way anyone can achieve Bhavana Maya Panya, direct insight, direct knowledge, without solid foundation of morality and concentration. That's not possible. You can have a superficial wisdom, yes, like hearing, reading, then thinking, yes. But in the Kalama Sutta, even this is not conclusive. Don't go by this logical thinking, induction, deduction, various types of thinking. Don't go by that. So because the Buddha, it is only through direct seeing of the realities that it can have a real impact on our mind. Because direct seeing requires 2 aspects. One is your mind, the mind power, highly purified and sharpened, strengthened, empowered, coming into contact with the true nature. Then it works. If these 2 things don't come together, it doesn't work. And if you have that power, if you don't apply it on these ultimate realities, it doesn't work. If you don't have this power, you can't even come into contact with these ultimate realities. So, this is the way. So the first thing, when you do this, then you see, after this material, you reach a Samohagana. Then Santadigana, when all these are rising powers extremely fast. Even like this, uncountable. Uncountable. Now, of course, some people may wonder, so fast how to see. But when our mind, our concentration is very powerful, we can freeze the moment. We can see the history. But the natural flow is extremely fast. So it produces a very deep impact in our mind. So Santanigana and Samohagana destroy our imagination, fancy illusion about things that cause us suffering. So often we hear people talk about, because of him, because of her, I suffer. Why? We think there's something solid there. This person produce suffering. But you see, come to ultimate reality, there's no. We need this kind of two wisdom, conceptual knowledge and ultimate knowledge. We need both. If you have only one, you cannot really fail. You cannot practice metta. Just look at ultimate reality, how to practice metta. Metta take concept, take people, suffering being, real being. You take this as metta and karuna practice. But when it comes to wisdom part, wisdom take ultimate realities. Things are empty. But love, compassion with this conceptual truth that there are beings, suffering beings. Yeah. Both need to be, you need to understand both in order to have a balance, wisdom, intellectual, and then the emotional growth in the Dhamma. Okay, now there's one more, Kichagana. Is it here? No. So in this practice, I'm not going to go into details, don't worry. It's things so heavy. But when this is, in fact, even by reading, I find it very heavy. Those are what we did. For the Burmese, they are supposed to memorize, so that you have the ABC in you, so that you know you want to see. So those days when we see meditation, they put the book in front of them. They memorize, and then they see. But for us, we cannot remember all the too many details. We read, okay, what is this characteristic, function, manifestation, and proximate cause? Okay, then you meditate, get your concentration, have a light of wisdom, and shine on it, then you see. So this is what they call, when you see all these four things, in fact, in simple terms, we say you break down the compactness, function compactness. Sometimes you say, wow, this person regard me badly, this person angry with me. Then you take it as a whole. Oh, he doesn't love me, she doesn't love me, like that. Actually, then suddenly you get strange again. Why the person regard you in another way? Then you feel paradox, conflicting. But all are truth sometimes. When the person loves you, he actually loves you. When the person hates you, he actually hates you. Because why? Different mental state. Hateful, anger, angry mind is that. Is what I one single moment angry, then another moment loving. So both are truth. Some people want this ultimate. How can? So then you must be hypocrite. You tell me sometimes my students say, just now you just praised me. You say I was okay, good. And then now you lecture me for my mistake. I say very simple. I break down compactness. Just now when I praise you for the right thing you did, and now when I tell you wrong, this is based on the wrong thing you do. That's it. Both are true. Yeah. In fact, one time this also happened to when I was Sariputta, the story about Nivarata. Then the Vijayavata practiced very high and very well. Then Venerable Sariputta said, sometimes praise in front of the devotees. This monk is really very strong, very powerful, practice very well. Then after that, you know what Devadatta did, right? He was not loyal to the Buddha anymore and tried to come up with different kind of ideas and split the Sangha. Then the Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta, go and declare in front of devotees that sever the line. And he's no more in this camp, not in the sasana teaching, he's on his own. So that people don't get misled by him, by his ideas. Because he no longer belongs to the Buddha's disciple. Not like that. Then Venerable Sariputta said, it's difficult for me, How am I going to do it? I told in front of all the devotees saying that He was good, great, and powerful. And now I'm going to denounce him. How am I going to do that? Then the Buddha said, last time when you praised him, was it telling the truth? Did you tell the truth? Yes. Because you praised for the right thing. He actually had something for you to praise. And now if you go and denounce him, are you speaking the truth? Now he has gone the wrong way. Right? So go ahead, go and tell. This is the wisdom of breaking compactness. You don't live in your past dream, past ideas, concept. No. Things change. So you act accordingly. So this is a breaking down compactness. Because this, is a different quality in Devarata. At one time he had good quality, his good quality came up. And then another time the bad quality functioned differently. Like that. So you can see like that, you no longer hold on to one compact entity. No, you don't hold on to that. It is just, that's about the mind. But the body is the same. The body, every part of the body function. This is actually about the mind. The body is a function. Sometimes people who don't have to live in the compactness, sometimes when they don't like something, they completely want to throw away. I remember I had this experience of some kind of common knowledge of breaking down compactness in my teenage years, One night I have this experience, teenage or just younger days. My father had an affair with a woman, working in a bar called Barger. It's actually maybe a prostitute. And this woman always went to the Bomo. She likes to go to the Bomo. So, Bomo, what they do, that kind of charms. So we are very alert, wary about her. So then one day she brought some fruits for us, fruits those days are something rare item. Only Chinese New Year we get fruits. Usually a poor family, you don't easily get fruits. Usually 1 year, very few times we get to eat fruits. So looking at saliva falling, looking at these fruits. Then she came. My mother said, "Well, you accept from her, take from her, out of just to be polite now." And then my mother said, "This person go to Bomo. This person come and grab your father. How can he be so really care for us? Unlikely. Suddenly end up so kind. Destroy our family and come up act so kind to us. How could it happen?" So my mother, maybe this one got Bomo, Wang Tao. Then, but we were of course obedient to mother, but faithful, but we still feel, this is something to eat, Then my mother said, look at us. Okay, that's the way you have to throw away the charm. Take the fruits, put under between the two legs, round here. I said, my mother said, now all charm gone. Eat. You see? So at that time, I learned from childhood that take away the bad part, keep the good part. As the saying goes, you don't throw away the babies together with the bathtub water. Right or not? I think they use it, So the baby is your baby. Throw away the dirty water, but why throw away your baby? In the same way. So this is breaking down compactness. This one, the bad come from where? So throw away the bad part. Don't throw away the whole thing. So this is a compactness idea. If you have the compactness, you cannot have this kind of wisdom to differentiate precisely. So now, so later, when then you see the function, break down the kichagana, the function compactness. Okay, so this way, you see we have the materiality, we have to see also the function, characteristic function, manifestation, proximate cause. You do this. You find this a formula always apply in our Theravada text. Sometimes this thing apply, especially in the Visuddhimagga, which is given. This is a very good, very powerful formula to see elements, to understand elements, sound, order, flavor, everything you can find. Everything you can find in this way. Okay? Then the material, then the consciousness aggregates. You can see all this also. Consciousness, then wholesome, unwholesome, different type of consciousness. Okay? Perception, then the formation aggregates. Okay? The various types of mental state, cetasikas, various quality, defilements. Okay. So a lot of things you try to see. So you see the characteristic, function, manifestation, approximate concept. This is through direct seeing. This is not through reading. In fact, nobody can bother remember all this wording. No, it's too heavy. My mother asked me, how I just studied 4 years standard 4. How am I going to do this kind of very profound practice? I say, when you want to go to somewhere, you always read the map. Is it necessary for you to have a map then to go somewhere? I say, if you can understand the map, you understand. If you don't understand the map, can you still reach the destination? Say, yes, possible if there's a good guide. I say, same. If you follow a good guide's instruction, go left, go right, take the bus, take the flight, take the vehicle, and you reach your destination if your guide is competent. So I told her, don't worry, just do it. So she could do. In fact, she did all this practice. Fantastic. Because experiential level, when you see, you mustn't talk. When you try to visualize or imagine, this is very complicated things. That is the power, the difference of Bhavana Mayapanya compared to Cinta Mayapanya. If you read the books, sometimes I read the Western wrote about rebirth. They use reincarnation. Sometimes people use rebirth, sometimes they use reincarnation. Very complicated. Because they go by case study, a lot of analysis, and not also correct also. But when you see, it's actually very simple. Reality, when you see, it's very simple. Even just to describe about this hall, if someone who don't come in, you just describe by words, you see how complicated it can be. But you just take a video or just bring the person in here. It's just so simple, just one look, finish. So this is the power of Bhavana Mayapanya, seeing wisdom, compared to Cinta Mayapanya, reflective knowledge. Okay? Now, this is material and mental part. Okay? Just to show you only. Just to show. Okay? And the mind one also. So mind one you can see later, the Nama part. The Nama part later. So now, you more or less have an idea. Continuity means you see the mind is one mind. But if you see rising and passing away extremely fast, material also same, mind also same. The material is our ultimate reality. Rise and pass away extremely fast speed. You cannot call a stop to it. You cannot. Of course, when you analyze, when you freeze the moment, that's another thing. That's not the natural state. In fact, you can check. You can check your materiality when you are a Brahma life. You can check that. That's like a history you recall, just like that. So if you can see that, you can freeze the moment. But the real state of it is actually arising, passing away extremely fast. So this is a continuity. So when you break down you look at this as a flow, continuous flow, but actually it's broken. So there's not a single moment you can hold on to it. So this is what we call breaking down. This compactness is the wrong way, the wrong understanding. Then break down means wisdom, right understanding. Break down the compactness means wisdom and understanding. Means no grasping, cannot be grasped. So remember, it is in negative terms. So grouping, we see as a whole, as a man, woman, benefactor, whatever, enemy, because of that. So when you see arising and passing away, the first compactness broken down, see the grouping, it is one, but you break down, it's only elements. So then the compactness broken down. Then the function, this is a good person, that person, right? Actually, both can be correct. Sometimes people told me, Bhante, your mind switch so fast. Sometimes it can be like this and sometimes it can be like that. Seems to be a paradox. I say, come and ask me, where's the paradox? You seem to say this is correct, then another thing also can be correct. In fact, in our real life, so often it's like that. I told her, actually, I break down compactness. We don't see things as a compact whole. We see things by elements, nature. Humans have different nature. This person, we see the angels and devils in the same person. So I treat when I see your angel, I try to bring out your angel. I'm also fully aware this person has this danger in certain characteristics which can be harmful. So we have to help the person effectively to overcome their weakness. In fact, this is given in Tao also. The Lao Tzu, Tao Te Jing. 知其雄，守其实. See the strength and guard the weakness, especially in leadership. If you lead, you need to understand people. If you see people as a whole, this is all good person, this is bad person, then you cannot lead. You need to need the strong point of this person and also know the weakness of that person. Okay, so break down. But this breaking down compactness is a conceptual level. Now we are talking, this is for liberation, we need to break down compactness up to the ultimate level. Okay, but the concept is the same. When you break down things, function, break down. This function like that function like that, you break down. So similarly, in you see a person go up to the stage, have stage fright. If you see the cause of his stage fright, then you can just break down, just solve the cause. Is it because too cold, the aircon is too cold, sometimes also you feel uncomfortable in standing in front. Your body tends to shake because it's too cold. Or is it because of you have too much self-concern? How you care too much about how people look at you. So you can know exactly, they can identify the problems because different source. You see what caused dysfunction in that person. Okay, so this is about materiality and mentality. We speak about it together. Okay, materiality, dysfunction. Okay, do you want to cut something? You see the doctor, the surgeon. If you say your brain have a tumor, they won't cut everything. They just cut what is sufficient. Take the rounding, throw away. So this is the idea. So, but in the ultimate level, this is for liberation. Then mental one also same. When can we have this break down the compactness, continuity compactness of mental phenomena, Santatigana of our Dhamma? When we say, okay, this is a averting consciousness, this is a I consciousness, receiving consciousness, receiving, up to jhana, up to the registration, determining. So when you see moment to moment, the mind moment, then if you see up to that level, you break down this continuity compactness. But not enough. You need to go to see every consciousness. They have a mental state as well. Can you understand? Have you studied before? Consciousness and mental states. You know the difference? They are just like water and the state of water. They cannot be separated. You cannot have a state of water without water. You cannot have a water without a state of water, right? So the mind the same. You have the mind and the mind quality, state of mind. Then you have that. So when you see as a whole, there's a problem. That's just how I quote some example already. Angry, and metta, and compassion. They're all different aspects of our mind. So sometimes we say there are angels and devils in the person. So it helps to bring out the danger in the person and help the person to curb his own devils. So this is a grouping. Then function is the same. Just how we mentioned a little bit when we mentioned the materiality. Also our mind has different function. Compassion has different function. So this is easy to understand. These three components quite easy to understand. One is the time. Because of time. Continuity is actually the time idea. So you can see the time up to the moment to moment, then you break down these components. Then the grouping is actually a space idea. Space idea. See, so when you break down into the deeper part of it, you get a different understanding, perspective of that phenomenon. Then the function, ideas. Then this is the most important. Aramanaka. You see, when we practice, I remember last time, 1994, when I was practicing treasury, together with Sharon Yanakuri, the late Taoist teacher, Sharon Yanakuri. That I also felt I was practicing very high. That one day I discovered, when I meditate, very strong. In fact, I was praised by others also, you are so bright. And I was meditating very tough with full lotus, few, 1 hour, 2 hours. And so I practice very well. Then, and I also thought, this is anicca, this is dukkha, this is anatta. But later, suddenly I discovered, I sense some kind of pride inside. I am seeing anatta. I have seen anatta. So when we say Anatta, I say, Shadow, I noticed I was seeing anatta. Still, I have this sense of I, Then Shadow smile and say, yes. But it's too subtle, not easy. Very compassionate, very compassionate. So not easy to overcome that. Then later, if you see the Visuddhimagga path of purification, that's a special technical vipassana, mainly directed to overcome this problem. That is to break down Aramanaka. Arupa Sattaka meditation method in Vipassana. You check Visuddhimagga, the path of purification inside Vipassana path. There's the practice, Arupa Sattaka practice. How? There are a few ways, many ways. To make it simple, the key, the key part is this. Taking your inside knowledge as object. When we have an inside, we have an inside knowledge, we have a knowing mind, we have the wise mind, the jnana. Take that is also mind. Take that as object and see. So from the subject, you turn the subject into object and see them. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. And break down the three compactness of this inside knowledge. Break down the compactness of santati, continuity, knowing that inside knowledge also arises and passes away. Break down the grouping compactness of the inside knowledge, which is also arises, is also elements. Although all kinds of mental states, consciousness and mental states only. And then they all function, all has a different aspect of the mental states or the consciousness and the mental state. They have different function. So you see like that. So all these three compactness of the subject, the knowing mind, when you take the jnana, you take a subject, you break down the three compactness of them, you break down the compactness of mental phenomena that take object, aramanaga. Compactness of mental phenomena that take object, which is take object. Inside knowledge take object. Takes anicca, dukkha, anatta of materiality and mentality. So when you turn into the subject into object, when they become something to know, again and again, many times, again and again, then you notice that it is so-called insight. I practice well. I'm a good practitioner. I'm a good yogi. Vanish. It cannot. In the presence of this insight, this kind of a sense of I as a superior yogi, God. So this is it. So you break down four. And I think the fourth is very important, especially for people who practice high level. Because when you reach high level, you have a high level Mara comes to you. Right? So when you do this high level Mara can be overcome. So just now I have a few slides about how there are the flow of the mind. This you can study yourself. Sometimes how to make it big. How the flow of the mind. Never mind. No need to go into detail, just to let you know. Yeah. Because also it doesn't mean anything, it's just words. But when you meditate, it is not words. Direct experience. These Vasa in Samanye, we have quite good, some very good practitioners from China. Very, very surprising. Housewife, and some are just ordinary. First time coming to the Buddhism. First time only, the person just came to Buddhism, 29th of April, attending my retreat. We are coming as complete freshie, a housewife coming, offering flowers. We are coming. Then, fantastic. Within a few days, reach jhana, very surprising. At that time, I was teaching three kids. One 6 years old, one 7 years old, another 9 years old. The 6 and 7 years old, I taught them last year. 5 years old and 6 years old, and within 3-4 days attained first jhana. Very fantastic. Very fantastic. Then they lost the jhana after they went to school and play, have fun. 3-4 days, not very intensive practice. I told them, now you please meditate, half an hour, no problem. After that you can play, no 8 precepts for you, can take dinner. But you can play, but before you play, please meditate. So they're happy, okay, Bhante said I can play, so they meditate. But these kids, these two, very pure mind. So I was giving an interview every day, and I gave them interview 3 times a day, because children, you must keep them active. You don't pay attention to them, they are no mood. So after lunch is my first interview with them. The adults was watching behind. So I just give them very simple instruction, just be here, only here. If you see light, just focus into the light and just flow with it. And let things happen naturally. Then they did exactly that simple instruction. And then, and the jhana. Very strong report about the jhana. And the adults listening. Wow, fantastic. How can it be so easy? They also we have some hidden secret, Students always come to us and say, hey, Bhante, can you tell me something more? I say, we teach you open hand, no secret. So simple. But this time when they heard how I taught the kids, they really trust that I have no secret. Just instruction is so simple. We give a lot of instruction to adults, but to children, how can we tell so much? They don't understand so much. They need a very complicated kind of reasoning work. So, few days into jhana, 3-4 days. Then some people at the back looking at it and marvel how it can happen so easily. We work so hard and it couldn't happen. I said, do you remember the time you were kids? All of us have gone through as simple mind as they are. Just obey instruction and do nothing exactly as the teacher says only. So this is the secret. The real innocence. We have that innocence. But after some time, we start to suspect people, look at people like that, What is it? When people say something, we interpret. What is the meaning? Do you have any, 弦外之音 in Chinese say? I hear your tune, but what is behind your tune? When you have this kind of thought, you cannot practice on one now. Very difficult. So this adult, a few housewives, then they got this course. Not everyone take the instructions clearly, because I just spoke about it like passing remark. But let me tell you, people with parami, they know what is a gem. What is a gem. So they just catch it. And then I said, if you can recall your childhood days, your simplicity you had before, then you can meditate like the kid. Then through another few days, another one or two ladies enter jhana. One is very strong one is a weaker. Not pure jhana. One is very pure. Purer means less interruption. Impure means sometimes there's impurity, sometimes a little interruption, thoughts, wandering, and then but it's still jhana. You see? And one of these lady, now is a Xia lady, now still practicing, and come to this level already. With all the samatha practice up to neither perception nor non-perception, they have come to this now. Recently just report about seeing this thought process. Breaking down compactness. First time Buddhist, complete freshie. Because of simplicity. She doesn't have very complicated mind. You tell me, I just do. Very simple. I trust you don't cheat me. You tell me, I do. Just follow, just accordingly. So simple instruction. Thank you. So anyway, seeing this flow, and then seeing breaking down this compactness, it helps us to overcome some delusion. Delusion about self, that things are permanent. Then things can be grasped. You see, when you do counseling, you tell people, please don't grasp gives you suffering. But the Buddha's way is not. Instead of telling you not to grasp, just let them see until it's ingraspable. Cannot be grasped. No way to grasp. Can you grasp the grasp? Cannot. Can you grasp any? No. Cannot grasp. Yeah, sometimes people have to tell people, oh, don't kill. And see people come to talk to me, hey, Bhante, how can my house cockroaches? I just don't like, I frightened, I don't know why you frightened. I say big size, human big size. The cockroach is so small. But, they can scream for cockroaches. Anyone else scream for cockroaches? You scream. So you see, that's strange. Cockroaches are more afraid of you. See, everything they see, they run very quickly. So they are more afraid of us. But we have to kill them. This beautiful being, Without Dhamma, we don't know. I did a lot of those killing before I came to Dhamma, 13 years. So sometimes now I'm paying some of it. Yeah. I'm paying, I got a bell policy. Now things have some impact on my right side. So people say, hey, Bhante, you have done a lot of good. You have done a lot of life release. Why you still have to suffer this pain? 1st of January last year, I was a very healthy person. 2nd of January, I got it. Complete drop of my health level in Himalaya. I was staying in a cave at that time. 2,800 meters net alone. So I was very healthy. I stayed there 1.5 years, very healthy. But just one day difference. Complete. Even now, people told me I aged so much because of that sickness. I said, well, I deserve it. You just see you saw the good thing I did. You didn't see the bad things I did. I did a lot of killing. Yeah. Because books tell us so. These are 害虫. 害虫 means what? English, how to say English? 害虫. Pests. It is pests. Okay? It is pests. Pests are meant to be killed. So now when people come around to tell me pests are meant to be killed, I say, well, my job is not to tell you what you should do. I just tell you the cause and effect. What is the causes? What effect it will be? If you like, if you think you are okay for it, go ahead. Then they don't do. I tell them, don't do, they want to do. I tell them, okay, this will happen. Believe it or not, just go ahead. Come and see. I like the word pasiko, Yeah, yesterday, quite a lot of people, they get inspired by my talk. I gave a TEDx in Nottingham. I end with the note, do not believe, come and see. I started with the Kalama Sutta. Because I know I was talking not in my comfort zone anymore. They are non-Buddhist. Non-Buddhist. So the best way to bring the non-Buddhists to resonate with us is the best is Kalama Sutta. Telling them, actually, I was skeptical before. I also questioned everything, But the Buddha said, hey, Pasiko, come and see. So I like this very much. In fact, Kalama Sutta was one of the early sutta that brought me into the Dhamma. I still remember last time in Second, there's one person called Maniam. In Second, I don't know, you all know Maniam? You know him, huh? Yeah, we were child, Then he was saying something about this, then Kalama Sutta, this, then come and see a Pasiko. That inspired me a lot. I thought I had the freedom, I no longer feel guilty for being inquisitive. The Kalama Sutta is in the West, they know it as a charter of free inquiry. Charter of free inquiry of the Buddha. So I started with my near-death experience first in Matang, 1993, where I was almost drowned in Matang forest, and how I came from it because of the thought, let me die mindfully. Then it switched my mind from darkness to brightness. I didn't talk about charm, because in this kind of equation, you cannot talk about charm. I talk about it, that people find something, Then I explain how it is okay to be inquisitive. It's okay to ask any question, If you want to challenge the Buddha's teaching, it's okay, not wrong, as long as it's not with that attitude, but just with a scientific way attitude, inquisitive. It's okay. Hey, Pasiko, come and see. Come and see. Because this is only possible in Buddhism, not any other religion. Because all other religions, they talk about belief, about something that you can never know. So you just accept it. The Creator has a purpose, don't question. Right or wrong, don't question. The Creator has a purpose. No, in this, you cannot accept this in Buddhism. And why the Buddha could welcome us with an open hand and show us like that? Because this is science. Science, when we are teaching about science, you don't worry. You can reserve, no problem. As long as you don't pass the wrong judgment. You want to say this is not, there's no ghost, there's no heaven, you must prove it also, right? In science, you want to prove or disprove something, you must have the facts with you. So we talk about science. As long as people reserve, I think it's okay. Just come and see. Because in the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha said, Attanava Jnanayata. After telling about all the 10 things that not the foundation for your belief, immediately the Buddha used the word Attanava Jnanayata. When you know for yourself, then you accept it. When you know for yourself. So I told them that. There was a big surprise, because I think such freedom is never enjoyed by any people, any devotees of any religion, except Buddhists. And we can have this. So we are grateful for our freedom of thinking. Our mind is not closed up by our teacher, our great teacher. In fact, our minds get freed up, our human potential get freed up. So when I end with the note, do not believe, come and see. In fact, many people say this one is a takeaway. So this one, when you see this, it breaks down so that you don't need to brainwash yourself into wholesomeness. Yeah, of course, beginning years are for morality practice, you need to tell yourself, maybe it's true, if I don't keep 5 precepts, I don't keep 8 precepts, how am I going to calm down? If I cannot calm down, How am I going to see realities? If I lying distort our mind, you get a distorted perception. If you accumulate a lot of distorted perception in the mind, how to see reality requires direct uprightness and see it as it is. I've seen a lot of yogis like that. If they are used to lie in the lay life, when they come to meditate, they have this distorted perception. So they cannot see things as they really are. People don't see the danger, the harm of lying. Why is so important? If you understand the reason the Buddha taught the Dhamma is for seeing true nature, seeing reality, seeing truth as they really are. That requires a pure perception, penetrative perception. And you know why is in Buddhism we care so much about mind. So when you lie and you drink alcohol, we are destroying this potential, which means we are destroying our potential to get enlightened, to be free from suffering. Because seeing nature, seeing truth, seeing realities are so important in the Buddhist teaching. Not in other religions, you can just believe, but not in Buddhism. In Buddhism, you need to see things as they really are. We cherish our wisdom. We protect our wisdom. Anything that harm our perception, harm our ability to see reality, we will have to discard. We care so much about this, and yet if you don't give 5%, So I told them, you can come as a Christian. If you want to bow, it's okay. If you want to sit on the same level with me, still okay. But not higher, higher cannot. But yesterday, Nottingham, yes, that's auditorium, the kind of lecture hall, what can you do? But there's no offense in Vinaya, because when we have no disrespect, these kind of small rules, when we have no respect, no disrespect, there's no tukata, no apati, no offense. But if you look down on this is not important rule, then it is apati. If we have a good reason for it, out of compassion for those non-Buddhists, and then that setting is like that, what to do? But it gave me a chair, so I didn't need to talk standing. I tried a few times, I said, no, it's not possible. I used to talk in a sitting position. But anyway, you have to tell them, let them see, come and see. So our Buddhist ways, the Buddhist approach is go to the fundamentals. 我讲 Chinese 有些底层逻辑 means fundamental, translate as fundamental logic or the fundamental laws or the way it operates, how it goes about, how it operates. Of some phenomena, whatever phenomena, the fundamental logic, 底层逻辑 is the way it works. Actually, it's the cause and effect of it. So if you can see this, then you dismantle the foundation for the causes of suffering. And this breaking down compactness, 3 for materiality, 4 for the mentality, is meant for that. So that there's no illusion anymore, no delusion anymore. And this kind of seeing things as they really are has a big difference. Yeah, has a big difference. You don't go by belief. Yeah, some people say because of belief also I can do a lot of good. Because of belief, yeah, it's good. Actually, I'm not against faith. I'm just saying it is not sufficient. Not sufficient in times of crisis, in times of challenge, in times of danger, in times of self-interest. Self-interest is involved. Sometimes you don't know how strong you can to guard your moral ground. But if you are see things as they really are, you people want to slaughter you, kill, cut off your head. Is it possible to say there's no rebirth? No, it's not possible. Because you see. You see. So this is important. So when you break down compactness, you overcome all the delusion, which is the foundation for all our defilements or causes of suffering. And then you derive the benefits in just the opposite. The kind of certainty, assurance. You are at ease. Even no matter how bad things happen, come to your life, in your mind you just see it in a very understanding manner. It's just like that. So even when people bully you, slander you, defame you, do something bad to you. Yesterday I was telling the devotees, I said, yeah, you can even be happy about it. Because this person must be very unfortunate. You can say kind or unfortunate. Or maybe whatever. But actually, it's the benefactors, come to throw away your bad karma and give you a chance to cultivate this Kandi Parami, patience, endurance Parami. Isn't this good? When you want to do dana, you want to do cooking for monks, you need to spend time, money, effort, whatever. But this opportunity comes on its own record. You don't need to ask for it. Just come. People just say something bad and bully you. Exhaust your bad karma and give you a chance to cultivate good karma. So in Chinese, I say, 把垃圾变黄金, turn the rubbish into gold. But not exactly, but it just as a metaphor. Not exactly. Actually, you're throwing away rubbish and generates a lot of valuable things, the parami. So if you see things like that, then the benefits of delusion overcome, delusion about cause and effect, time and space overcome. Then a lot of benefits. Just as there was an example about patience. And when you see things like that, even in leadership, in Samanya, in Dhamma, they care a lot about Dhamma leadership. Because we see sometimes in a Buddhist circle, if we don't solve our problem, we don't manage ourselves according to Dhamma way, then when in the Dhamma world, if there's a lot of politicking, whatever, that's very bad. A lot of people's faith get destroyed. So we started with that, with how at first we use the Dhamma leadership for how we manage ourselves. So like that. So in that we also need to apply this breaking down compactness on a more superficial level. So try to, instead of talking about ultimate reality, we talk about different elements, different aspects of things in our organization. So when we have a problem, you solve it instead of blow it up to affect the aspect which is not involved. So like that. So you get a lot of benefits. So you can find out more. But the meditation part is very useful. Yeah, very useful. Okay. I think I must protect your time for questioning. Okay. Any question?
When we meditate, do we actually have a thought that, I need to get to jhana? Or just meditate and focus? This is the question. And the second question, how do you really know that it's jhana? And it was something like this, the hallucination. So that's my two questions.
Okay. Jhana thought, Actually, you see, when people always have this idea, when I want something, it is wrong. It is great. In fact, people don't differentiate these two mental states. Chanda and Lobha. Lobha is a activity grasping wholly. Chanda is just, even the Bodhisattva aspired to be a Sammasambuddha. He did it with a strong wish, strong aspiration. So, then can you say that's a great? No. That's a chanda, pure chanda, when you make aspiration. So we have to be careful. We tell ourselves, I don't want to just do it. Yeah, of course, when people cannot overcome it, we tell them, don't forget about the goal, just do it. But it is wrong to say, every time you have a goal, you have a great. No, not necessary. You see, when you want to earn money, it is bad. No, you need the money to, to do work. Even in the monastery, yes, we just had a charity fair yesterday. You need it to work. Even when you come from downstairs up here, you have a chanda to come up here. You don't listen to Dhamma talk, you have a chanda to listen. You have a chanda to ask questions. It is all the time with our life. Without chanda, you cannot act, you cannot have a drive to go anywhere, to do anything. So when you have a thought, okay, I want jhana, it's okay. But if you do it with your grasping mind, that's not okay. So actually, the Chinese, there's a beautiful use for it. Chinese translation. 无住身心. Detachment, and then the mind arise in detachment. In fact, this is similar to what the last word the Buddha said before he passed away. Vaya Dhamma Sankhara Apamadena Sampadeta. The first was all these formations, Sankhara, are bound to perish. When the Buddha said that, what was his meaning? Don't grasp. They're about to perish, don't grasp. Then, apamadena sampadena, you need to strive on heedfully because your job is not finished. When your job is not finished, you think you have something to do. Don't try to pretend you have nothing to do. You still have something to do until you come to the level of asekha, the arahant level. So, the Buddha told us the reality, there's nothing to grasp and you have something to work on. Actually, this kind of idea it happened a lot in our teaching. When the Buddha, people accept the Buddha's teaching, he was like that. You don't accept his teaching, he was like that. So this is what. But he had a drive to teach you. But whatever, how you receive it is okay. It's not shaken. Because he didn't grasp anything. So this is wuju sensing, detached, arising, have a mind arising out of detachment. But of other Dhamma elements, some vega, sense of urgency for yourself, or you have a compassion out of care for others, that can be your drive. So and sometimes people say, oh, the journey is too far, I don't know how. I say, well, if you can aim first jhana, it's okay. After first jhana, everything becomes very fast. Because before first jhana, your practice is so inefficient. 5 hindrances keep coming to you. So inefficient. People can take years to attain first jhana. But after first jhana, within days they reach 4th jhana and then very fast. Because of efficient strive or inefficient strive only. Okay, now. So don't worry about that. But you feel that thought about, I want to attain jhana is already burdening you. Then put it aside. Just work on what you should do. In fact, whether you have that thought or you don't have that thought, the fundamental key is that you need to work on causes instead of hang your mind towards the goal. You can have the goal, but don't hang there. Okay? Then how to imagine whether there's jhana or not? If you know, it's possible for people who have not attained jhana to imagine they have attained jhana. But it's unlikely for someone who has attained jhana to know not to know that it is something very transformative, very kind of or maybe a revolutionary, very altered consciousness. Your mind changed completely from the very sensual to the material, the rupa world, that kind of Brahma state of mind. It's unlikely. But it's okay. You see, how to name some people care so much? Is this jhana? Is it not jhana? I see, put aside. I know when we practice, also people arouse question. Is it true, not true? Then those days I have a very simple answer for doubters. I say, well, as long as I know every day I'm progressing, even if I overestimate myself, it's fine. If I keep progressing, surely I'll come to it. Then if I realize that I actually overestimate myself, as long as I didn't have an intention to lie, I was okay. So when you keep progressing, it is good. And you have the light of wisdom, it is useful. And if you can see your ultimate reality, it serves the purpose. In fact, nowadays we don't emphasize to very high level of jhana attainment. It's not quite sufficient for you to practice vipassana. Because we need it for you to be able to come to ultimate realities. Because vipassana takes ultimate reality, paramata dhamma as object. It never takes conceptual object. It takes ultimate reality. So if you can take ultimate reality, it's okay already. Yeah. Some people don't, without jhana also, upachara samadhi possible to see ultimate realities. It's just that you need to see ultimate realities. You need to see the cause and effect of relationship, dependent origination. You need to see how you came from, where you came from, and how, and what causes produce your present life as a man, woman, or why like that. And this insight is so useful, so important, because with this insight of dependent origination, a lot of doubt will be overcome. 16 types of doubts are overcome. 5 about past, 5 about future, 6 about present, all gone. In the purification while overcoming doubt, you can find that in Visuddhimagga, and you can check for yourself. That gives you a kind of assurance and know. Then you find that a lot of wrong views cannot exist together with this knowledge. They just cannot exist. Simply cannot exist. With this knowledge, just like when there's light, there's no darkness. When there's this insight, wrong view cannot arise. But not cut off is Sotapati Magga only. The first stage of sainthood, Strimena. Okay, yeah.
Good morning, Bhante. Namo Buddhaya. Thank you for the show. I really like how you talked about the high-level Mara coming when we reach a certain high level in our practice. Sometimes in our Dhamma practice, we might feel like the more we practice, the more defilements arise. Of course, sometimes maybe you're not practicing correctly. That might be true. So because the example you gave was, even though one might have certain experience of inside knowledge, still the sense of I could arise. And of course, Bhante Maṅgala, we are very fortunate to have a very compassionate teacher to find out how to see. But if I'm imagining, sometimes if I'm in that situation, I might start to doubt. I've attained such experience or such level of insight, still I have this I. Then I might start to doubt, is this Dhamma actually working? Is it actually true that this insight leads to this reduction in a sense of self? So my broader question is, in Dhamma practice, if we feel like, am I really practicing correctly, or are there more defilements arising? And then we start to doubt, is it really working? Is the practice really working? Then we start to doubt and we feel a sense of like, I want to give up or I don't have hope. So how do we deal with that?
You'll be able to know that actually, if you really look at your mind, you can know certain defilements are gross one. Because of the sensual objects, you have a defilement. But you notice that the more you practice, if it so happens some people have a high level, because of the high practice, they start to have a sense of pride or superiority. Then, it's different. You don't discover this when you are humble. You only discover it when you are highly adored by people, respect, all the respect and admiration. Then you notice that it's not the same. Yeah, you cannot say this is more defilements. No, it's just different level in defilements. Early on, you have a gross defilements. You go for the gross things. But now the gross are lessened. And you come to have a more subtle form. So, there's a different level of things. So, if you see them as they really are, I don't think you will equate it as just like the gross defilements. It's not the same. Just like when you are a poor person, poor man, you act very humble, but suddenly you become very rich. You got the lottery, then you feel proud, walk with air, sometimes it may happen. This is another level. But I think this can be overcome easily, not too difficult, because the method is systematic and show you every problems in this Dhamma journey. There's always a tool to overcome it. At whatever level. That's the wonderful about the Buddha's teaching. Every level. So we just need to solve that level when it comes to us. That problem comes to us. And also being aware of it is very helpful. In fact, by being aware of any weakness, any defilements, that by itself is a solution. If you understand Abhidhamma, the new thought process, the knowing thought process, the wisdom thought process, already cut off the defiled thought process. And our thought process gets strengthened when it repeats itself. Or similar thing repeat itself. So when it is cut off, when the defiled one is cut off into broken pieces, fragmented, and then the knowing, the wisdom, the seeing, consciousness, repeats itself stronger and stronger, that by itself is purifying. And so no need to worry about it. Just solve it, Yeah. You don't walk the journey, you have no problem. When you walk the journey, you have a problem, and you overcome it. You do nothing, of course, no problem. Yeah. In fact, that's the greatest failure. If you don't attempt anything, you wouldn't put yourself to test. Okay.
One day I have two questions. The first question is about the story you shared about when little Swami Pingao. At that time, was he already an Arahant?
Oh, yes.
And he
Already achieved it.
has been an Arahant. Hasn't he broken the compactness?
Oh, yes, he had broken the compactness. But still, at that time, that's on the conceptual level. He felt uneasy. Venerable Sariputta, a very humble person. He naturally didn't like to say bad about people. He's very humble, known to be a very humble person, even though he's the second to the Buddha. He was very humble. He was always the last, to clean up the place where everyone go to Pindachara. He would just go and clean up everything and make sure that when anyone come to the monastery, will not be seeing, the monastery is not tidy, they are not harmonious. He would just make sure everything is in order before, was the last to leave the monastery for alms round, usually. So you see, he was a very humble person. He thought, he didn't want to do it. And then also I had appraised now also how. You see, even when you have broken down compactness, but you may not feel easy, to do like that. It is possible, you just feel, because you don't see how it can be coherent yet. But when the Buddha assured him that it was okay, last time he was telling the truth, now you're also telling the truth. Then he found how he could go about it. So you see, this is a breaking down compactness in a conceptual level, not the ultimate level. Conceptual level means different time frame. This time it was like that. This time is like that. So surely he has broken down compactness up to the ultimate level. But this is conceptual. Just like many people who can meditate well, they practice dependent originations. But not everyone, from my see, know how to apply this wisdom in worldly aspect, in dependent origination, in leadership. Not everyone. Some people can only meditate well, mainly for their own purity, they understand, no grasping. But when it comes to actual operation leadership, this is another skills. Just like all the arahants, they have this purity. But when it comes to enacting the Vinaya rules, only the Buddha could do it. Because it requires, in Vinaya rules, requires another type of wisdom. Conceptual. You see, you can see ultimately already what is so difficult with conceptual. No, that's different level of wisdom. You see or not? This is another type of wisdom. When the Buddha says the handful of the leaves in the, I thought you all have, most of you must have heard the story. He only thought about the teaching as much as the handful of leaves. And what he didn't teach, he hadn't thought about, was actually like the leaves in the forest. Yeah. But these are not necessary for enlightenment. What is necessary for enlightenment was that teaching. So these all arahants, they have grasped fully well what the Buddha taught about these ultimate realities, how to get enlightenment. But how to manage the world, how to deal with the world, there are still a lot of wisdom that the Buddha hasn't thought about it. So this aspect is conceptual level of operation. Not every arahant can lead well. You think, arahant was purer than me, sure he can lead better than me. No, not necessarily. Leadership is another aspect. It's outside the handful of leaves kind of knowledge. It's outside. Yeah. So you ask the arahant to lead a country, he may not be able to lead well, Not sure. That's another level of wisdom. Yeah. So this is conceptual application.
One day this is very eye-opening to me because all this while I thought the conceptual level is shallower than the ultimate level we see. So if one can understand things in conceptually, but it may not be able to realize them in ultimate sense. But these look like they are different things.
Yeah, different. No, but if you know how to relate, you can help. Sure. Frankly speaking, up to now, many of my students have surpassed me in practice. But still they come to me in leadership. Sometimes Bhante, how to manage, how to make decisions like that. Yeah. Because I apply a lot of dependent origination wisdom in managing things in real life application. But they focus more on the liberation part. Yeah.
Well, that's all we take
But it's okay, they can learn. Yeah, so
another question is about the taking down the dipping Ghana and the Aramana Dana. I kind of understand how this continuity, taking down the continuity is done. But how about the dipping and the Ani? We're looking at the same thing because through what Bhante's explanations is all, it seems like conceptual things people more about.
No, because these are the things that you can understand. If I want to tell you, the ultimate level can see. If you don't have the wisdom, so sometimes we have to use something similar, metaphor, But when the actual seeing, you actually see the mind part, arising and passing away extremely fast. That is Santati Gana. You break down. You see the mind moment arising and passing away. Then you break down the continuity part. Then you see the mind, every consciousness as all the mental states. Then you break down all the different mental states. You can break down, then you break down the grouping. Then you see all these mental states, all these consciousness, they have their function, their characteristic function, manifestation, and proximate cause differently. Every mental state, they have different function. Okay, then you break down the compactness of function. And then when you take your background, your subject, your knowing, your knowledge, your wisdom as object, and you break down the three compactness of this knowing mind, and that is the Aramanagam. Something like that. Can you understand? Not easy, huh? You can't practice. So I already explained, but I know it is difficult because it's experiential. So I have to use something similar. I use some conceptual kind of breaking down compactness. So you know how the same concept is beneficial to you. Then you can apply a bit of it. But really come to experiential, you need to do it yourself. This argument realities. If you don't see, then this is just Sutamaya Panya for you. You cannot come to Chintamaya Panya even. It's not easy. Unless you so in order to help everyone to have a little bit Chintamaya Panya about this, then I gave some examples of the conceptual level of breaking down compactness. But in terms of Bhavanamaya Panya, no way to talk about it. I can just talk about it in words, but unless you see for itself, otherwise it's not possible.
Okay. This was just one question. So, thank you, Bhante, for sharing about this moral dilemma and talking about how in the seed it's going to bring the peace that you must be able to accept the conveniences that are in background. However, I guess all those other things are very fortunate in the sense that we live in a conducive environment for us to be very CNA compliant and so on. But I believe that there are many people, even human beings who live in very unstable conditions. And I was just wondering, because sometimes if practice too much compassion without wisdom, it is harmful. But if we don't have like a bit of wisdom which comes with, let's say, the compassion that we do. So maybe one example would be that let's say a person has no other choice, is born in a war-torn country. Is there any option to give the family which is direct, but maybe just the intention is I will make a good living so that I can support my children. And hopefully my children can go out there and do something beneficial for the nation to create a ripple effect of this karma and baka in the world. So really is this mindset, right? And how the consequences be, like what is the vipaka like? And yeah, just wondering.
Same. So maybe a little less severe, but same. He still killed. I tell you a story. There's about the King Saka. He had a wife when all other wives practice hard to do good dana. This wife was a bit lazy, every day make up, do things. So he got reborn into the woeful animals. And one time as a crane or something, a bird that eat fish. So then this Saka thought, hey, where am I? All other wives also get reborn in the same place, good place, get a new, fresh life. Where's that wife? Look, and then, born as a woeful as animal. So you go and say, well, because lazy and doing good. So when teach this bird, the crane, a fish-eating bird, you call crane on then this bird understood. Then avoid to keep 5%. Okay, not killing. So it always try to eat only the dead fish, but no fish go hungry. Then one time the Saka tried to test the virtue of this wife, ex-wife. So as a fish lying with what you call the belly facing up. Then when the fish tried to grab, they thinking this is a dead fish. They move. Oh no, he's alive. So he stopped eating. Then and finally and die because of eventually got hungry, no food to eat, hungry, die. But be born up there beside the Saka as a Devi. You see? So this cause and effect. But if you think that I have no choice, I need to do bad, then look, that's why you cannot come out from that difficulty. What is death actually? If you can die in righteousness, good, you may just suffer just a few moments or a few days. but next birth is completely blank. But you think that, oh, I cannot give out this life. This is my bottom line. My bottom line is that I must be alive. I must be good. I must be okay in this human life. Then when you have no chance to generate any wholesomeness in that difficult, deprived situations, then what to do? How to change? Yeah. Because of some bad karma, you already end up in this situation where you find it very difficult to do good. So the only way is do good in most terrible and difficult times. Just like the one who offered his only cloth to the Buddha. Yeah. Because he's thinking that I have no merits, because that's why I end up so poor. So I gave a most difficult dana. Then you make a change. If you don't, you say, oh, it's hard, difficult, it's so hard, I have nothing to give. Then your fate is continue like that. So the ability to choose to suffer in wholesomeness and goodness can always make a turn in the most hopeless situation. But if you cannot have that, then that's already hopeless. If you cannot do that, that's already hopeless.
Bhante, just a quick piece further. How we can use the to bring the unity and the function as the object of input into Arvana.
Oh, okay. See, when you see I more or less understand your question. If you correct me if I'm wrong. So no. You don't do that. You don't do that. Because if it is object already an object, then it's just an object. Then you see this break down the ganas of your object. Aramana gana is taking the subject as object. It's just that. What is already object is object. Because whatever we see, we penetrate, that is object. Whatever they see, that is the subject. So now you turn the subject into object by the new mind. You see our mind, let's say now, this second, this thought process. But how to see this thought process? This thought process doesn't see itself. Just like our eye cannot see our own eyes. But the next second, the next mind arises to see that mind. Even when you say, I know I'm angry now, so I'm watching my present mind. No, it's not possible to watch your present mind. We never watch our present mind. When it's still arising. When we say we watch our present mind, we're actually watching our mind that immediately passing. Because the new mind they watch, what is arising, the watch mind is over. So it's always the subsequent mind watching the preceding mind. It's always like that. So you turn the subject into object. When it's over, then the new one arises to look at it. You take it as subject. Then the subject becomes object. Okay. Idang me punya asavakaya wahang hotu. Idang me punya nibbanasa sacchayo hotu. Mama punya bhaga sabba satana bhajemi te sabbe me sama punya bhaga labando sa